Good morning, children. Today I am going to take the remaining part of the lesson Industrial Clusters in Tamil Nadu. The first side heading is Historical Development of Industrialization in Tamil Nadu. There is lot evidence for presence of industrial activities in both Southeast and West Asia for several countries. For example, textile, shipbuilding, iron and steel making and pottery in pro-colonial Tamil Nadu. These are the important factors in during the period of pro-colonial period of Tamil Nadu. The decline of the handloom weaving industry due to competition from machine made due to subsequent industrialization in the state during the colonial period. There are two sets of factors. The first one is introduction of cotton cultivation. The second one is introduction of railways. Textile sector involved ginning, pressing and spinning and weaving. These are include the cotton cultivation. The second one, introduction of railways, expanded market for cotton yarn and helped develop the sector. The second, industrial development trade increase in most active ports in the region. The ports are played the important in this sector. The Chennai and Tuticorin. Chennai played an important role in automobile industry. Sivagasi match factory and became a major center of fireworks production and printing. Leather production was taking place in Tindukal, Vellore and Ambur. In western Tamil Nadu, the textile industry in turn led to the rise of a number of small workshops for repair and producers of machinery components. The introduction of electricity from hydroelectric power in 1930s. The hydroelectricity power led to both expansion of agriculture as well as increase in demand for oil engines. It led to emergence of workshop for servicing engines. Post independence to early 1990s. After independence, several large enterprises were set up by both central and the state government in different segments. The Integral Coach Factory, for example, Coach Factory situated in Chennai and make railway coaches, and Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited (PHEL) in situated in Tiruchirappalli. It manufactured to boils and turbines. The heavy vehicles factory was set up to manufacture tanks in Avadi on the outskirts of Chennai. Standard Motors too started manufacturing cars in Chennai. Ashok Motors and Standard Motors together helped form an automobile cluster in the Chennai region. The Avadi Industrial Estate was established in 1950s to support the small and medium companies supplying to the large firms in the region. More hydroelectric power projects in the state were also initiated to increase the spread of electrification. The government played a major role in all these processes. The Salem steel plant was set up in the year 1973 to produce stainless steel. In the year of the 1970s and 80s saw a setting up of emergence of powerloom weaving clusters in the Coimbatore region as well as the expansion of cotton knitwear cluster in Tirupur and home finishings cluster in Karur. This period also saw more encouragement of the small and medium sector with the setting up of industrial estates by the state government in different parts. The Hosur Industrial Cluster is a successful case of how such policy efforts to promote industrial estates helped develop industries in a backward region. The next one is industrialization in Tamil Nadu liberalization phase. The final phase of industrialization is the post-reforms period since in the early 1990s. The reforms made the state governments more responsible for resource mobilization and they were forced to compete with each other to attract private investments for industrialization. Incentives such as cheap land and tax concession and subsidies but quality power were all offered to investors. Trade liberalization and currency devaluation also helped open up export markets. First, because of the trade liberalization measures, exports of textiles, home furnishings, and leather products began to grow rapidly. Second, efforts to attract investments lead to entry of leading multinational firms, that is MNCs, into the state, especially in the automobile sector. Since the automobile sector relies heavily on component makers, entry of MNCs not only brought along with other MNC component suppliers but also open up new market opportunities for domestic component producers. Chennai region also emerged as a hub for electronics industry with MNCs such as Nokia, Samsung and Flextronics opening plants on the city outskirts. A significant share of these investments has come up in special economic zones in the districts bordering Chennai. Tamil Nadu has often been hailed as a model for successfully using the route to attract productive investment. The other important industries, what are the other important industries in the state? Evolved over a much longer period include sugar factory, fertilizers, cement, agricultural implements, iron and steel, chemicals, transformers and paper. The next one is major industrial clusters and their specialization in Tamil Nadu. Okay, let us see the first one, automotive clusters. Automotive. Chennai is nicknamed as the Detroit of Asia because large auto industry based. Chennai is home to large number of auto assemble and component making firms, while there were a few domestic firms like TVS, TI Cycles, Ashok Leyland and Standard Motors earlier. In the post-reform period, several MNC firms like Hyundai, Ford, Renault Nissan have opened factories in this region. So, Chennai is called as a Tetrad of Asia. This is turn has attracted a number of component suppliers from foreign countries. Many local firms too cater to component production for all these firms. Hosur is another auto cluster with firms like TVS and Ashok Leyland having their factories there. Coimbatore region is also developing into an auto component cluster. Truck and bus bodybuilding industry clusters. The Namakkal Tiruchengode belt in western Tamil Nadu is known for its truck body building industry. Karur is another major hub with more than 50 units. Many entrepreneurs were previous employees in a big firm involved in bodybuilding who came out to set up their own units. The next one is textile clusters. Tamil Nadu is home to the largest textile sector in the country. Because of the development of cotton textile industry since the colonial period, Coimbatore often referred as a Manchester of South India. Why it was called Manchester of South India? The cotton growing areas and climate and weather condition and industries and transport, everything is available. At present, most of the spinning mills have moved to the smaller towns and villages at a radius over 100 to 150 km around the Coimbatore city. So, Tamil Nadu is the biggest producer of cotton yarn in the country. Tirupur is famous for clustering of a large number of firms producing cotton knitwear. It accounts for nearly 80% of the country's cotton knitwear exports and generates employment in the range of over 3 lakh people since the late 1980s. It is also a major producer for the domestic market. Because of its success in the global market, it is seen as one of the most dynamic clusters in the global south. Apart from bodybuilding, Karur is a major center of exports of home furnishings like tablecloth, curtains, bed covers, and towels. Bhavani and Kumarapalayam are again major centers of production of carpets, both the domestic and the global markets. Apart from such modern clusters, there are also traditional artisanal clusters such as Madurai and Kanjipuram that are famous for silk and cotton handloom saris. The next one is leather and leather goods clusters. Tamil Nadu accounts for 60% of the leather turning capacity in India and 38% of all leather footwear, garments, and components. Hundreds of leathers and tannery facilities are located around Vellore and its nearby towns such as Ranipat, Ambur, and Vaniambadi. The Vellore district is the top exporter of finished leather goods in the country. Chennai also has a large number of leather product making units involved in exports. There is another clustering of leather processing in Dindigul and Erode. The leather products sector too is a major employment generator. Let us see the next one, fireworks, matches and printing clusters. Fireworks means everybody knows Sivagasi is famous for the firework matches, printing, everything. Sivagasi region, once famous for its match industry, has now become a major center for printing and fireworks in the country. It is believed to contribute to 90% of the India's firework production, 80% of safety matches and 60% of the offset printing solutions. The offset printing industry has a high degree of specialization among firms, with several of them undertaking just one operation required for printing. All these industries have their origin in the colonial period and at present offer employment to a large number of workers. Electronics and information technology clusters, that is IT, information technology. After the economic reform started in the early 1990s, the state has seen the entry of hardware and electronics manufacturers like Nokia, Motorola, Sony, and Samsung, and Dell making cellular handset devices, circuit boards, and consumer electronics. They have all been set up in the Chennai region. While Nokia has been closed down, Chennai still continues to be a minor electronics hub in the country. Similarly, with the expansion of the software sector, Chennai and to a limited extent Coimbatore have emerged as centers of software services. Information technology specific special economic zones Chennai, Solinganallur, Coimbatore, Vilangurichi, Madurai, and Trichy. These are the important zones. Companies desiring to set up units in the state can avail themselves for the facilities provided. The possibility setting up in a new locations will be explored based on demand and viability. Tirunelveli, Salem and Hosur. Thank you.